Well, I'm not sure how all this video footage is going to come out. It's kind of all over the map. My apologies. I hope you find some of it useful. We got some Geo Pro stuff going on. Got some cooking out going on. We got camping in the mountains going on. We got trailer flying off the hitch going on. We've got a lot going on. So I'm going to just probably do it in a vlog format. Hopefully you find it useful or you enjoy it or whatever. And thanks for watching. And now let's get on to the video. Alright, so we started packing up camp. I got tired of rummaging around the forest floor for the wood, and so I decided I was just going to get one log to finish all logs. And of course, no one was out here, Robin,
yes,
to help me carry it from about 300 feet away.
I wouldn't have helped you anyway.
Take a picture from that end, you can see how big it is. This other end where it's been cut.
I'm coming all the way around.
Oh, we're taking around the circle.
Yep.
But this should hopefully last us the rest of the day. So the other thing I wanted to mention, a couple other little things I've done. I really need to get something to hang trash because we have a bag that we put trash in, but then the dog was getting into it, so then they had to carry the trash into the camper. Oh, the dogs are still going to get into it. Darn it. I'm going to set it up here. Gosh dang it. Okay, but a couple other things I did. For your drains in your shower and your sink, get these little metal things. They're easy to, it's got a little dirt in there. They catch all that garbage before it gets down into your tank, which is good. And then to clean it, you can just take it out and rinse it out in the shower outside. But it will prevent a lot of garbage from getting into your tanks. And I would get one for there, and we took the drain out of the shower and put a bigger one in the shower. Another reminder, because I ran my batteries down, because I wasn't paying attention, I turned the inverter on to charge my computer, and then we left. I had the refrigerator on auto mode, which means if you have power, obviously coming in, and that includes the inverter. If your inverter is turned on, let's be clear about this. If your inverter is on, even if you do not have shore power, it will power this refrigerator on 110 volts, which means you're going to be sucking almost 200 watts between the inverter and the refrigerator while this thing is running. We left. I had this in auto mode because I was running the generator off and on. I figured, well, when the generator's on, I'll go ahead and run off that rather than propane. The problem is, the generator was off. I turned on the inverter. Now it's running on the batteries. I drained my batteries down to nothing. Now the Battleborn have a cutoff at 10 volts, but what's got me concerned is it didn't cut off. It was down to 9.55 volts. So I need to ask them, why did it not cut off at 10 volts? So I'm going to be looking to get a low voltage cutoff to protect, because apparently the 10 volt cutoff on the Battleborn batteries isn't working correctly. You don't want to rely on it. So you will want to look at a low voltage cutoff added into your thing. Don't rely on the battery management system. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. So I'm going to get one of those and add into the system because, like I said, it was down to 9.55 volts. It should have cut off at 10. But I came in here and the inverter light was still on, but of course the inverter couldn't provide any power. So anyway, just some things to think about. Back here at the fire, it's a little smoky.
Yeah, it's coming right at you.
But it's better than the alternative, which is, what's the alternative, Robin?
Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
She's still getting them.
You want the spray?
No. Yeah, I don't know.
So that's the drawback with Grand Mesa. There is a ton of mosquitoes.
That's because
Would you say it's still not as bad as Antelope Island?
Oh, it's not even, it doesn't even compare to Antelope Island. I wouldn't be sitting out here at Antelope Island.
Yeah, so Antelope Island in the wrong time of the year has a lot of mosquitoes.
You have to take a shower in DEET, like actually a shower, full entire shower.
I would assume like what, early spring or less here?
probably it's a little colder.
Maybe a little earlier in the summer, there might be less mosquitoes.
You know, when it's really cold and you don't want to be up here.
Yeah,
camping.
when it's really cold and you don't want to be up here camping. It's a beautiful area, but the mosquitoes are bad. So you can with DEET and make sure you have a fire. And you saw the little bug zapper thing, run that inside your campers. It's not big enough really to do anything outside, but running that inside your camper, any bugs that get in, at least it attracts them to that and they don't bug you while you're in your camper. And for the most part, it's not terrible. It's a little annoying, but it's not terrible. But as long as you have a good smoky fire, you may get lung cancer, but you won't get the Zika virus. All right, I got my sticker on my fridge. We put very fancy, I don't know, we just sometimes put stickers on the fridge. I don't know why. We just, some of them that we wanted to make sure that we always had. And I got my Grand Mesa sticker out here. There is my Trees of Mystery sticker that I had to replace because the one that I bought at Trees of Mystery was just paper and it wore off within a year. And it was already worn off to white. So I ordered this off eBay, which is a replica of one from 1950. So anyway, looks like I will need to replace the Chinatown sticker eventually. And just to show you this, this is all the way forward in the lock position. You can't go any more forward, and this won't go down unless you're fully attached. So there's no reason that should have came off, and I'm feeling in here and it's where it needs to be. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I'm going to do a test. Make sure I can lift the truck. I mean, I'm lifting the truck right now. Look at that. The truck's lifted. I mean, it's hitched. So go ahead and go back down with it. This is what I do when I hitch it every time. This is how I hitch it. I do not know how this thing could have jumped off the ball. I really don't comprehend it. During this same day, I went ahead and fixed the strap, which I will show you. And I grabbed a piece of aluminum strap from the local hardware store. It was the same thickness roughly as the steel strap that was on the camper that rusted out. I had no idea of the forces that were exerted on this thing. Well, aluminum is much weaker, and I knew that, but I didn't really realize how much weaker. The aluminum basically broke just from the flexing and movement before we even got home from Colorado. So while everything coming up here is accurate in how I fixed it, do not use what I used. I went ahead and replaced it, and so now it has 1/8 inch thick steel, and then I painted it. Steel is going to be much better dealing with flexing. I learned that also aluminum, even if you have a bigger piece, it will still break down over time from all the flexing. Whereas steel, as long as it's strong enough to handle the situation, generally will not. The issue you have with steel is it will rust. The thin support that came on the camper lasted roughly 25,000 miles. So this is now easily twice as thick at 1/8 of an inch. So it should easily last 25,000 plus miles, you would hope. So anyway, coming up, this is how I fixed it. But again, I ended up replacing it with a more appropriate piece of metal for the job. All right, we're back in Delta, and one unrelated repair is this. I need to take this off and make a new one. I picked this up at the hardware store, and it should do the job. It was like $8. So I'll just take that, do a bend, and you get the picture. So we'll just make that. Well, this is all rusted. And I'll have to cut that off too. It might come unscrewed though, we'll see. Alright, I should probably replace this, but I don't have time to mess with going down to the hardware store and getting another one. That's about where I need to cut it, right there. All right, got it. That should be plenty. Now I have to drill some holes. First, let's bend it and see how it has to go. All right, so it's gonna have to go right about there. So I'm gonna get this hole drilled first and mounted on the bottom, and then up the top I'll figure out where to drill the hole for that. Let's dig through here and see if I can find an assorted nut and bolt to do the job. All right, so there I go, and some washers, and I put a lock washer on it. So now I've got that in place. So now I just need to, you can see the hole there, line that up. All right, got a hole drilled. Goes right about there. Got the little self-tapping. The hole's a little small, but that's the only bit I could find, but that'll be good enough. I can get that started with a ratchet and we'll get that done. All right, there it is. So as you can see, before we even got back from Colorado, halfway home, probably I would say 600 miles or so in, this was basically literally just broken right there. Just broke. So I went ahead and made a new one using steel. So there we go. So I decided I'm going to just make the steak here at my mom's house before we head out first thing early tomorrow to Woodland Park. And it's now marinating, if you want to call it that. I got some crushed red pepper, I got some Mrs. Dash, I got some of this Chicago steak seasoning, I got some of this voodoo stuff, and I got some of this African cracked pepper stuff, and I got some cookies. Actually, yeah, I don't know. Did I put the cookies on? I don't know that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put the cookies on. Well, I'll put a little more just in case. There. And of course, I'm just soaking it in that. So I'm going to try to sear these. All right, so when this gets to 28, that'll be 5 minutes on one side. So quick peek there. Let those cook away. Except it's only 400 degrees. I hope it may be a little pink. We'll have to cut into it, see how it does. I've never cooked on this before, so I'm not sure what to expect. All right, so flipped it over. So once we get to 8:34, it'll have been about 5 minutes on the other side, and we're gonna see how that looks.
It's pretty pink.
So you want me to do it longer?
Well,
It's
you
probably
can do ours a little bit, but you need to do hers more if she wants it well done.
Right. All right.
Okay.
Should we check that one too, or do you think they're the same?
Oh,
That's a little less pink.
yeah, it's a little less, but it's still there.
All right. So we ended up doing it 2 more minutes per side, and I think that got it about where it needs to be. So 7 minutes a side total. It's looking pretty good. So it's better than the fish.
I liked the fish.
But it's not as salty.
It's not as salty as the fish, no.
Right, cool. So this again was from Divine Fish and Meat Market, and I'm not usually a fan of a lot of fat on my steak. Robin does like that. She doesn't really like sirloin. So the last time we started getting meat there, I started with the New York strip, right? Mm-hmm. And it was really, really good, even though there was some fat. This time they didn't have any New York strip. So I got ribeye, which had a lot more fat in it than I would be interested in. But man, it is so tender. The fat just peels away, so I didn't have to fight to get rid of the fat after it was cooked. It's just, it's unbelievable. So check it out. The owner's name there is Toby. I would highly recommend Divine Fish and Meat Market there in Montrose. Gosh dang it. Okay, but a couple other things I did. For your drains in your shower and your sink, get these little metal things. They're easy to, it's got a little dirt in there.